When I was in elementary school, my grandfather passed away. My maternal grandfather. I didn't really know him too well. What I do know is that I had the great privilege of inheriting 2 of his jewelry boxes. One was empty. That's okay. The other one, though, had his cufflinks. And my grandfather loved cufflinks. And I inherited from him probably maybe 15 pairs of cufflinks from the 1930s and the 1940s. They're very cool. They're very classy. Unfortunately, in high school and even early college, I didn't appreciate the cufflinks. I didn't have any shirts for which they fit. But when I got into the seminary, I realized, oh, I can get a shirt that's got the French cuffs, and I can put those cufflinks in there, and I appreciated them. I'm sharing the story only because we don't choose our family. We're born into a family. Jesus' relatives didn't choose him. God chose them and gave Jesus to them. In today's gospel, we hear in the very beginning, they were ready to go get him and throttle him. Jesus' relatives were not very happy with him. You know, we know that Jesus' mission among us is to, we say, comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, right? And so that's what Jesus' relatives were feeling. He was afflicting the comfortable. He was changing everything, and they weren't very happy about that. We know in our own families, in our own lives, as we walk as disciples of Jesus, sometimes that upsets our family. Sometimes families become split because we want to walk as Jesus' disciples. We ought to know that was Jesus' intention, was to change the world, transform the world. And how are we called to know on one hand that Jesus' message is going to be challenging, and on the other hand, continue to connect with our family in loving and authentic and dignified ways? In the second reading that Joyce read for us, we hear what Jesus came to do. Offer us not death, but everlasting life. Not allow us to be discouraged, but rather to renew us. Joyce read that we're not to be concerned about the transitory, but rather what is eternal. Not to worry about this tent that's going to be destroyed, but an eternal dwelling in paradise. Jesus came to change us, and he called us to be his disciples in that transformational process by taking care of those in need and sometimes afflicting the comfortable, calling them back to Jesus' message of love and compassion. We can't blame Jesus' disciples, Jesus' family, his relatives. We can't blame them. They didn't know what they were getting, but we know who we're getting. We're getting Jesus the Master, and we commit ourselves to being his disciples in the good times and challenging times. Amen?